Yo, what's up? It's SDO, and today we're going to be doing ranking the football teams, based Super Bowl and performance last year for next year. So we'll start off with the AFC, and we'll start off with the AFC North. The Jets up at first, and with a decent quarterback in Sam Darnold, okay front office led by Adam Gase, and good weapons all around. I'll put them in the 8-8 category. With the Patriots, without Brady, I think it's going to be a struggle. They definitely won't be a playoff team. But with Bill Belichick, they'll still stay afloat, and with their stout defense, they'll do well. So 8-8, 9-7. I'd probably have them over the Jets. The Dolphins, they're still in rebuilding, so I'll put them a lot lower. Maybe you put them in the bad to worst category. They made great moves with the offseason, but they're still a rebuilding franchise. Then we have the Buffalo Bills, who I think will be playoff bound with the addition of Stephon Diggs. Repeat of last year and possibly even better. Maybe you get a wild card seed. I mean, maybe even get a top 2 seed. Then we'll move to the North. And the Steelers, I think Big Ben's going to face an even greater regression. And I really think their team will tank again without Le'Veon Bell, without Antonio Brown. I think the golden age is over for them. Then I move to the Ravens. Haven't really made that many moves, and without a Lamar Jackson injury, they're going to stay off. They're going to stay in the playoff range. Then we have the Browns, who I think with Baker Mayfield, if he gets out of a sophomore slump, they will definitely be a playoff team. They've made some good offensive free agent signings, and their offense will definitely improve. And their defense did pretty well last year. After that, we have the Cincinnati Bengals, who have been trashed year in and year out, so I'm going to put them one of the worst. They haven't made many moves, and since the Vontaze perfect hit on Antonio Brown, they just seem to be a worse and worse franchise every year. Now moving to the West, we have the Kansas City Chiefs, and I think they'll definitely be playoff bound again. Not many moves, but when you have an arm like Mahomes and people like Tyreek Hill, you're never going to fail too badly. Then in that division, we have the Denver Broncos. I think Drew Lock and a couple offseason pieces have really bolstered their roster. And Melvin Gordon and two-headed dragon really at running back position will really keep a nice defensive slate and a lot of time possession for the offense. So I'll put them in 9-7, possibly even that 7th seed. I'll put that later in the video. Then after that, we have the Oakland Raiders. I actually think with the addition of Marcus Mariota as a backup and without Antonio Brown and all that struggle, and without all that headaches around the team, there would be 8-8 team. However, I think for the Chargers, without Phillip Rivers, they're really wasting all the talent on their team, and it's just going to get worse and worse until they can find their new quarterback and hopefully someone else at their front office because they are absolutely terrible. So I'm going to put them under the bad category. So that wraps it up for the West. And now we have the South. I'm going to start off with the Tennessee Titans. And I think they're still playoff bound. I think Derrick Henry is going to suffer a little bit of regression, but the rest of the team is going to continue to improve. They have a great young wide receiver core, as well as Ryan Tannehill, who is an average to top 10 quarterback in the league. And we have second, the Indianapolis Colts. I think, again, without a star quarterback. I mean, they have Phillip Rivers, but I don't see that as a star quarterback. They're going to end up in the bad category. With the Texans, I thought they would return back to the playoffs. But without DeAndre Hopkins, a poor offensive line, Deshaun Watson's not going to have much time in the pocket. And although he does have Will Fuller, I think they'll remain 9-7, maybe competing for that 7th seed or those final wild card slots. And finally, we have the Jaguars. And even though they have an up-and-coming quarterback, I don't see much of a bright future for this team with their defense being dissembled. So I'm going to put them under the bed. And that wraps up the AFC South. So I think my predictions would be Kansas City for the first seed, Baltimore for second, Buffalo Bills for third, Cleveland for fourth. Then we have Tennessee. I actually would think they would be taking fourth seed. Browns go to the fifth seed. Tennessee takes the fourth seed. And for the sixth seed, I would put the Denver Broncos. And seventh seed, I always feel like Deshaun Watson finds a way, but they will be destroyed in the playoffs. So I'll put them over here. Okay. Moving on to the NFC. We'll start off with the NFC North. And I love the Giants, but Daniel Jones cannot get a good grip on the ball. And if he continues to fumble at the rate he did last year, and their poor defense continues, they're going to remain a bad team. If he can start throwing the ball well, which he has done, if he could start keeping control of the ball and their defense can be managed, I think they'll be much better. But right now, they remain in the bad category. Second, we are the Redskins, and they did not give Dwayne Haskins any chances. Their team is downright awful. Their management is terrible. They need to make some new moves. Ron Rivera was a great choice, but I think it's going to take a couple of years before they go back to being a decent to good team. I think the Eagles, with all their new improvements and with a healthier team this year, they'll stay in the wild card race. So I'll put them as 9-7 and decide later. And I think the Cowboys are going to win the division again this year, and I think they'll still get destroyed in the playoffs or suffer a heartbreaking loss early on. Okay, we'll move on to the West, and we'll start off with the Cardinals. Even with DeAndre Hopkins, I think Kyle Murray is still a very developing quarterback, and they don't have the best offensive line or defense, so I'm going to put them in the bad category. I think they're more of a 7-9 team this year. They might even slip into the 8-8 categories, but I don't think they'll fare well in the playoffs or get to there, as a matter of fact. Russell Wilson is just a beast, and I think the Seattle Seahawks will do well enough to get to the playoffs this year, especially with 7 teams making it. I also see the 49ers, who apparently are not on this list, but I see the 49ers as being a playoff team again, and imagine I'm putting them there. And finally, in their division, I would see the Rams. And I just don't see the Rams as being more competitive this year. They're letting go a lot of their key players. I would actually put them under the bad category. Moving on to the North. Year in, year out, they try to copy the Patriots. They're going to end up with 3-4 wins, maybe 5. They're ruining Matt Stafford's talent, or they've already ruined it. It's just going to stay a dump like the rest of Detroit. So I'm going to leave them down there. We have the Chicago Bears, who signed Nick Foles. I think it was a better signing than Trubisky, but they took on a large part of the contract, and I don't think it'll fare well for them in the better years. And I'm going to continue to put them in the bad category. Now, Green Bay, even though they went 13-3 off a very flopped record, I think someone has to win the division at the end of the year, and I think it will be them. So I'll put them as a playoff team. And the Vikings, without Stephon Diggs, without many key pieces returning this year, they're not going to be able to make a strong run at the playoffs again. They got very lucky being the Saints and getting even into the playoffs, so I'm going to put them as bad this year. Then moving on to the NFC South. So the Panthers, without Cam Newton, they're just going to be terrible. They signed Teddy Bridgewater, but they lost Luke Kuechly, who's a big part of their defense, and a big part of why they've been okay to good team in recent years. So I'm going to put them under bad. I really don't think they've recovered as well after losing to the Super Bowl and the Broncos. Moving on to another team that really hasn't fared well against their loss to the Super Bowl, the Falcons. They made some good signings this year, including Todd Gurley. But I think with Todd Gurley's arthritic knee and all, it won't be too great of an improvement. And I think they remain in the bad category, maybe 7 wins this year instead of what they have done in the previous years. I think the Buccaneers, the signing of Tom Brady, definitely puts them as elite. You have Tom Brady, Chris Humphries, Chris Godwin, You have Mike Evans. You have a young and upcoming defense. They'll definitely be a playoff team. The Saints going 13-3 last year. Addition of Emmanuel Sanders, the combination of Ted Ginn, Emmanuel Sanders, Smith, Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara. I think it's just going to be an insanely good offense, and they're going to remain in the playoffs. So far in the playoffs, we'll have the Cowboys, Seahawks, Packers, Saints, Buccaneers, and 49ers. And I think the seventh team upcoming in most likely will be the Philadelphia Eagles into the playoffs because Carson Wentz has demonstrated some greatness in the past. And he might be able to get the team back up to their standards. And from the AFC, I think with the way the Ravens play at quarterback, I think they'll remain a playoff team. I don't think they'll be able to make a Super Bowl. I think it's really going to be between the Bills and Chiefs. But with the Chiefs' high-powered offense this year, I find it hard for anyone to stop them. And from the NFC, I pit the NFC Championship game actually being between the Saints and Buccaneers or between the Saints and Cowboys. I think the Saints will be able to win it. The Tampa Bay is pretty good. Tom Brady is aging, and he might not be able to carry the load. He might not even prove to be that much better than Jameis Winston. That's really all the Buccaneers need to make the playoffs. So I have the Saints going to the Super Bowl. If you disagree, let me know going in the comments. And thank you so much for watching this video. Yeah, have a good day.